Spear, right, one quick. You sound like you're like in a
You,
tunnel.
how you like me now?
That's
Oh,
that's
that's
that's a
much
little bit,
better.
yeah, yeah, that's much better.
You sound much more booming, more authoritative. I mean, hell, if you asked me to, buy a drink at a bar, I'd say yes to you.
All right.
It's such a velvety voice right now. It's
Well,
like you're ensconced in the best type of chocolate wrapper possible, sir.
Yeah, it
well,
doesn't sound like
welcome.
you're in a box anymore.
Well, how about
Congrats.
that? On this episode of Three Tool Players, we discuss how injuries have impacted the Mets, Yankees, and Phillies leading into the home stretch of the season. Also, Phillies Karen is the fill-in that Philadelphia deserves, but not the one it needs. And Brian gives up the tiny amphibian secret that is the key to the Yankees' health and recovery. All this and more on this episode of Three Tool Players. Welcome to Three Tool Players. I'm Chris Spear, and alongside me are the Hammer Brothers.
Say
You're
hello to the
such a
internet,
goon.
fellas. Say hello to the internet, fellas. Hello to the internet, fellas.
Oh
Ahoy,
my
ahoy.
God. All right. For this
Maybe-
week's episode, we're going to tap into pain because it's going to be about injuries. It's going to be about the injuries that have befallen our teams and the impacts that they have had leading up until this point, getting through the last month of the season. At this point, it's actually the last 3 weeks. There have been plenty of impacts to both the Mets and the Yankees. But when you talk about the Phillies and you talk about people being hurt, you got to talk about at least one woman who was a little butthurt in Miami
Oh
when she
no.
didn't get that home run ball.
Oh, did someone get their feelings hurt? Daniel, tell us all about it.
No, no, she didn't get her feelings hurt. I mean, like she
Oh,
just
yeah.
she pulled a Karen and demanded for that ball to get back to her. So right now we have a mystery woman that
Oh,
is the Phillies Karen.
Phillies
this is
Karen.
the
Yeah.
Phillies Karen. It's amazing. And you know what it is too, Daniel? I mean, it's fan on fan action down there, right? It's two Philly fans,
Jesus.
on like another team's soil, right? It's like the idea of, let's say, you and I getting invited over to someone's house for Friendsgiving, and then we immediately start fist fighting the second the appetizers are served, right? And we start fighting over those little mini cocktail hot dogs, right? I mean, that's what we saw in terms of a scrum in left field.
I applaud the dad. The guy looked like a decent guy, hugged his son, gave him the ball, and then all of a sudden he gets surprised by this Philly Karen.
This Philly Karen,
This
I've
this
heard
Phi-
of other
yeah.
things. She's been called Cruella de Phil. Uh,
That's good.
I mean, I can't take credit for this, but it's amazing just the imagination that your fan base has, Dan. Can we all agree as three gentlemen that she is the villain of the story?
Villain.
Yeah. See what
Oh
I did there?
man.
October is going to be fun during the playoffs because you know what? There's going to be a lot of costumes at
Yep.
Citizens Bank Park
Uh-huh.
as the Philly Karen.
Number one Halloween costume in the Philadelphia area is going to be Phillies Karen. Mark it down.
Fidelco. I agree. I agree 100% until something else happens at an Eagles game the next week. But you know what? See, I bet it went down a different way. I bet that Karen speaking to the father with the little boy at his side, she probably said something like, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I can do those things
Get
because
outta
I'm
here.
not a hero.
Come on.
I snatch that ball. That's what I can be because I'm whatever Philly needs me to be, Daniel.
Yeah, but what about all the internet trolls?
They'll hunt me. They'll condemn me. Set the dogs on me. Because that's what needs to happen. Because sometimes a foul ball isn't good enough. Sometimes fans deserve more. Sometimes fans deserve to have their sense of entitlement rewarded. And as
Oh.
she probably takes off, the little boy starts yelling, Karen, Karen. And then he turns
Oh
to his
my
father and
God.
says, why is she running, Dad? Because the trolls need to chase her, son. Because she's the villain Philadelphia deserves, but not the one it needs right now. So they'll hunt her because she can take it, just like any other rogue home run ball that comes within an earshot. Because she's not a hero, Daniel. She's a loudmouth Karen, a watchful protector in left field sections 141 through 245. She is a Philadelphian villain.
Oh
And now
my God.
cue the score from James Newton Howard and Hans Zimmer. Now you got yourself something great in Philadelphia. You're welcome.
What I'm surprised about is they still have yet to identify her. It's
So
yeah, I mean, like you think about like, the couple at the Coldplay concert. And like
Yeah.
that was quick. That was instantaneous. That was like
Yeah.
within 12 hours.
And it's amazing how hard the internet mob has pursued her. They're looking in every nook and cranny for this woman.
Well, Spear, there's no such justice as angry mob justice.
No, but the worst is angry internet mob justice. I mean, that's a plus plus. That's
That
plus plus.
is those digital pitchforks and torches. Oh, they're extra pointy and extra hot.
There's nobody in Philly that supports this.
No, not
It's
at
like
all.
there's no Philadelphia Phillies fan that supports this woman that says, "Oh no, she was right to go do this." You know what I mean? It's going to be unfortunate that it will end up in the same conversation with throwing snowballs at Santa or throwing batteries at a player.
Or
'Cause that's-
throwing dollar hot dogs onto Citizens Bank Park Field.
so
Or
yeah,
spitting on quarterbacks in Dallas.
Hey,
Right.
hey, hey.
Oh,
He
Hayes for
spit
horses.
first. He spit
Aye,
first.
yeah. Nice game, pretty boy.
that was one magic loogie. But
One magic loogie.
the point is, this is going to go in the pantheon of Philadelphia sports knuckleheaded
Lore.
stuff.
It's
And
lore.
it's lore. But the fortunate or the unfortunate part of it, depending on how you want to look at it, is the Phillies fans will never support this. Like if they ever find this woman, she's going to be absolutely lynched.
I'll tell you what, Dan, if you guys win the World Series this year, all will be forgiven. Your Philadelphian phillain, your Karen, so to speak, she becomes your, galvanization. She becomes that lightning rod to
Yeah.
rally your fan base.
I don't like the grimace with the Mets last year. It'll be
Yeah.
Phillies Karen. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
Get
that's
outta
what it's
here.
going to be. And she'll be watching from the shadows, just like the Dark Knight. Be great.
Get out of here. All right. Well, Phillies Karen, wherever you are, stay safe, Phillies Karen.
Oh.
Stay safe. All right. Let's get into the rest of the real injuries. Let's start with the Phillies because for the most part, the Phillies have been okay. The Phillies have been okay. I mean, when you look at a lineup at the beginning of a season, that's how you're looking for the potential of how good that team is going to be. So Bryce Harper, Zach Wheeler, Trey Turner, Schwarber, Castellanos. I mean, these are the guys that you're expecting to drive your team. And for the most part, you guys were relatively healthy up until you got to Zach Wheeler with the blood clot thing about a month ago now. You guys were relatively healthy. Bryce Harper was in and out of the lineup a little bit with the elbow or the wrist. Brandon Marsh had a hamstring strain. He was on the IL early. Trey Turner just went out. He's day to day with a hamstring strain. He's pending an MRI. But for the most part, you guys have been pretty healthy, Dan. I mean, can you think of anybody else?
I mean, like the only other thing is Jose Alvarado going out on weight loss meds.
Right.
Mhm. Hey, but
Other
that's
than
Ozempic.
that,
Ozempic is not on trial here, Daniel. What's the matter with you? He's got the
I'm
diabetes.
sorry.
But
Yeah, I know.
mean, that was a big
like,
deal, though.
Like we said, he was watching the Frank Thomas and who is it?
Doug Flutie.
Doug
Doug
Flutie.
Flutie, yeah.
Is those late night commercials. So I mean, like I can't blame him. It stinks that Aaron Nola went down, but does
It
it?
actually helped you.
Does it?
Actually
Does it?
helped you.
That's right.
His injury helped you, man.
Does it? So I wasn't all that upset about that. It did give some other guys chances. Jesus Luzardo took the bull by the horns this year and pitched phenomenal. We did have Ranger Suarez down for a little bit in the beginning of the season, but other than that, there's not really like anything that really stood out significant. So we had a decent year, knock on wood, for injuries for the Phillies. So nothing really stands out other than Zach Wheeler going down with the blood clot.
Well, and that's why the Phillies have been as advertised. Right.
Mhm.
The Phils are going to win 90 something games this season. And it is in large part due to the fact that they have been relatively healthy. The Zach Wheeler thing hurts. Romano went down, a week ago, something like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's another Aaron Nola, scenario. But Spear, you're absolutely right. I mean, the injury bug has kind of been beneficial to Dan and his fight-ins. Proof's in the pudding. Right now, they stand atop the NL East by 7 games. So now let's look at your boo-boos, Spear, and think about what could have been had you had at least a modicum of Dan's luck in Philadelphia when it came to the injury bug.
Yeah, the Mets were definitely hit hard by the injury bug. They were hit early by the injury bug. They weren't even healthy coming into the season. Sean Manaea had signed that big deal coming into this year after changing his whole delivery and really being kind of the ace of the staff towards the end of the 24 season. So he signs the big deal, 3 years, $75 million, and then immediately ends up with a lat strain. So he's out for a few months. We also signed Frankie Montas for a free agent contract, and he goes down almost immediately in spring training. We had other injuries in spring training. Christian Scott was out with Tommy John surgery. Drew Smith went down. So we got hit both in the starting rotation and in the bullpen. It was just a rough way to get into the season because your two big free agent acquisitions from a pitching perspective are already on ice. So you're all right. Okay, great. What are you going to do? Carlos Mendoza's answer to this was it was going to present, quote, opportunities for a lot of different players, which is manager speak for, I have no idea how we're going to figure this out. Like, we're just going to have to roll with it and see what happens. The Mets early on had people stepping up from a pitching perspective. For a while, they had the best pitching staff in baseball through April and then part of May, and then all hell broke loose. AJ Minter got hurt. That was a huge blow. He was a big acquisition for us from a late game setup perspective for Edwin Diaz. Danny Young, he goes down with an elbow sprain. Season-ending injuries for both. And then you get into June. The wheels completely fell off the cart. Tyler McGill goes down with a right elbow sprain in June 17th. Max Kranick goes down with a right flexor strain on June 19th. And Griffin Canning, who looked like an all-star, had a ruptured Achilles tendon on June 27th. Boom, boom, and boom. The bullpen was already thin and overtaxed, and now they're being called upon to absorb the workload of a rotation that has now been completely decimated, having lost Montas, Minaya, Canning, and McGill. And that's what I think sent the Mets down this slide that they were on for June leading into the All-Star break. And then coming out of the All-Star break, they got even worse. It was the net result of all of these things coming together. And I remember talking about this, saying the wheels fell off the car. Like you can't replace everything all at once. Although the Mets tried, and they kept throwing relievers at it. They kept bringing relievers up, and then they would send them right back down again. It was just, It was brutal. It's gotten to the point now where, as we're sitting here in September, over the course of the last few weeks, the Mets have had no other choice but to bring up Nolan McLean, Jonah Tong, and Brandon Sproat, because Senga hasn't been right. Minaya came back and looked like garbage. We don't know what you're going to get out of either one of the two of them. They sent Senga down to AAA to get right.
Yeah.
He was ostensibly the ace of this staff with all the other injuries that we had going on, and he hasn't looked right in weeks. They sent him down to AAA to go get right. They brought up McLean, who's looked great in his first few starts. Jonah Tong has looked okay. Sproat looked all right today. He got knocked around a bit, and he lost the game. But that's kind of where we are. The pitching has completely fallen apart for the Mets. Arms are overworked, and any of the optimism that you had early in the season really kind of fell apart once the injuries started to stack up. And I'm not even talking about what's going on in the lineup. You know, Jose Siri got hurt early, he fouled a ball off his leg, and he's been gone for months. Francisco Alvarez has been in and out. He's kind of snake bit. When he was healthy, he wasn't performing right. And then when he came back and he started to look better, you know, he started getting all kinds of different injuries. We talked earlier about how the DH spot hasn't worked out for the Mets all that much. Jesse Winker was going to be a big part of that. He's been hurt and he's been out of the lineup. So when you look at everything that the Mets have had to deal with over the course of the last 2 or 3 months, it's amazing that the Mets are still in it at all and are being competitive. When the Mets lineup is right and everyone's hitting all at once, they can put up 12 runs in a snap. But when they're not right, they're not getting the support from their pitching, and they're getting outscored. That's the story of the Mets season.
Yeah, but at this stage, it's all about just collecting as many W's as you can and patching it together. And I mean, it's perhaps a testament to Uncle Steve and opening up his wallet to say, we have to put a competitive team on the field, but we also have to have a deep bench and we have to have deep rosters and the like.
Talk about Uncle Steve spending the money. Uncle Steve spent the money on Juan Soto, and he has been as advertised. He started off slow. Everyone, we've talked ad infinitum about how slow Soto started. But since June, Soto has completely come alive. He's batting .263 with 37 home runs, 92 RBIs, and like a .925 OPS in 140 games. And he's stealing bases. He's going to be a 30-30 guy for the first time in his career, which is amazing.
Yeah, he snuck that in because with such a slow start, you're like, but, you know, he got hot. You know, if you're giving him a report card at this point, you still got to put him, you know, on par with where he was last year. maybe an A minus.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. And it's only the slow start that puts him in A minus territory. But the potential for the Mets is somewhat hindered by the fact that you have no idea who's going to be their first three guys in the rotation. Because in a short series, it's those three guys that end up carrying you.
Yep.
And who the hell are they going to be?
It's going to be McLean. It'll probably be Peterson, and it's going to probably be Clay Holmes.
So that's not exciting to me as a
I
Met
know,
fan.
but I know, but that's what you got, man. That's what you got, my friend.
It's not exciting to me as a Met fan, right? I mean, all right, fine. Nolan McLean has come up and he's been lights out.
Yeah.
But McLean, Peterson, and Clay Holmes as my first three in a 3-game playoff series, because that's what they're going to get. They're going to get that 3-game playoff series, and it's going to be those three guys. I'm not excited. Clay Holmes to try to finish it out. Get out of here. Like,
Well,
And what about you, Dan?
imagine-
You're three. You're
Imagine what
three
I have
studs.
right now. I mean, like, is Rob Thompson going to give the nod to Aaron Nola? Right now, I mean, dude has a
No,
6.78
no,
ERA, and like he's been giving up on average
no.
4 to 5 runs a game. I mean, you give the ball to Ranger Suarez,
Yep.
you give it to Chris Sanchez, and you
Yep.
give it to Luzardo. Those are the
Yep.
three that I would run with. Are they all lefties? Yup. Sorry, but these are my guys that are pitching quite well. I mean, like you take a look at it. Chris Sanchez has a 12-5 record with a 2.6 ERA. Ranger Suarez, 11-6 record with a 2.89.
Yeah.
Jesus Luzardo, right now, I mean, like even though he has an inflated ERA of 4.01, that was from 2 games where he totally blew up. I think one game was 6 runs, another game was like 10 runs. Dude still has a 13-6 record, and he has been pitching lights out this past month.
Jesus like him very much.
Mm-hmm.
but that's where your injuries, your recent injuries with Wheeler really hurt.
Yep.
Yep.
Really hurt. I mean,
Yep.
Wheeler's an ace. He's a certified ace. And losing him is a big blow to the long-term, World Series prospects for the Philadelphia
Yep.
Phillies.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting just to see how both of your teams, God willing, both go to the playoffs, how everybody reacts to, the other. I mean, Milwaukee right now is just dead scary right now.
Well,
And
they have everything. They have the pitching and they have the bats. They are extremely scary.
yeah, so it's really going to be interesting to see how everyone's going to, tie together. And I'm just hearing the National League plight here, and I think about all the boo-boos that have been happening. And like, Spear, you and I kind of got off on the same foot this year with just devastating injuries. The fact that we were missing our main DH, which for those that need to understand this, tennis elbow is a real thing. Especially when you have both of them. We had an aging utility guy in LeMahieu who had all sorts of ailments from calf injuries to God knows what. And we ended up releasing him because even him coming back, he just wasn't getting it done. But we all know the two major black eyes to the Yankees coming into this year were Garrett Cole and Luis Gill, right? You have a former Cy Young and a former Rookie of the Year. These are some major inning eaters that will keep you in ball games. And I'm looking at things from just a specific war. Right now, the Yankees are now only 2 games behind Toronto for the AL East, and they have a pretty commanding lead of the wild card, in the number 1 position. But if you had just those gentlemen, again, we're playing a little hubris here, and all things considered, I was looking at just what total career wars look like, and Garrett Cole sits at a little over 4.5. So if you were to throw his numbers into the mix right now, the Yankees would be in first place in the AL East. Luis Gill is around 3.25, 3.33. So he's only been around for half of the year. So we'll just give him kind of half credit. We'd be up by another game or two on top of that. So injuries do dominate, but like you said, Spear, there's folks, and Dan, you said it too. There are folks that do kind of step up. Ben Rice is one of those examples who stepped up for Stanton and his tennis elbow, and he was knocking the cover off the ball during spring training. And I know you all said, "Oh, you can't look at that." I was like, "Yeah, but something looks good about this Rice kid."
Oh, you know what? Knock it off. You don't get to call it.
Oh my
You don't get to call
God.
your
I
shot from
don't.
spring training. No, you do not.
I don't.
You don't get
Okay.
to call your shot from spring
But we
training.
can
I'm
go
sorry.
back. We can go back in time, right? We can go to the way back machine with
I
the flux
don't-
capacitor.
I don't
And
need
understand
to.
that I called Ben Rice. I called him.
You don't
But
get
you
to
don't have
call
to be
your shot.
defensive.
No,
All
you
right.
don't.
So,
No, you don't.
but would you not agree that Ben Rice got his shot and he made the most of it?
I would agree. Ben Rice made the
There.
most of
That's all you
it.
got to say.
I
There
don't.
you
I
go.
don't.
No,
I don't
end of
agree that
conversation.
you were like
End of
Nostradamus
conversation.
in spring
I
training.
never said I was Nostradamus. I never said I was Nosferatu. I never said I was any of these people.
Go.
But I will say that he took his shot, and you had some nice early production from Goldschmidt, but he's kind of fallen off the wayside, kind of since because Father Time is not kind. Bellinger has been a nice bounce back year, but I have a feeling he's going to opt out after this year. You have Grisham got his 30th home run recently, right? So you got guys that are producing. Judge is very good at baseball. We can all agree on that, of course. Stanton has finally come back and he mashes. The man has almost 20 home runs in his shortened, time with us. So Chisholm is another guy who's pushing close to 30 home runs. So the run production is there. The bats are there. They do go quiet from time to time. That's what also scares me is this is a team that also swings and misses a lot. But you look at our pitching, you have some really bright spots there. One in Max Fried, of course, who is throwing crazy good stuff. I'm also happy with Rodon. I know that he had some early struggles as well, but he has bounced back nicely. He's got 16 wins on the year. Last and never least is our boy came back from the injured reserve list with Luis Gil. He was a little shaky in the first couple starts, but he's starting to find his groove now. So I'm excited that he's come back to us now at the turn of the tide. And if you're talking about Gandalf and the three starters that we should be looking at going into a short series, those are my three guys that I'll go into battle with, sword drawn. So there was a lot of boo-boos happening, a lot of injury cream that needed to be spread around. But I got to say that there's a little, well, how do I put this? I'm just going to give away our secret. The Yankees have a magical Mexican healing frog. I don't know if you knew this, but he comes in and when players are hurt and they get their boo-boos, he goes, sana, sana, polita de rama, si no sanas hoy, sanarás mañana. This is one magical healing frog. And you do the little rub there, and voila, they come back from injury much faster, and they're ready to kill it in the playoffs.
Spear, I just wanted to say, you understand why I turn my brain off whenever Brian talks now, right?
And this is why you're getting dumber by the second, Dan, because
No,
I'm
he's like-
spilling great knowledge on you.
This is the reason
You
why you're like,
are
he already
jealous?
said that. He
You're
already
jealous?
said. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I turn my brain off whenever my brother talks.
You are jealous because you don't have your own Mexican healing frog like we do here in New York,
Oh.
Go get yours, and maybe you'd feel a lot better about maybe Zach Wheeler losing his blood clot in his arm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go get yourself a healing frog so you can get rid of the blood clot, Dan. I mean, that's what he's
Mexican
basically
healing
saying.
frog. Can't be any kind of frog.
I'd rather lick it instead of giving it to freaking Zach Wheeler.
Well, so you can start
Well,
shooting face. Is that what it is?
After listening to this.
Oh,
I'm sure it does have medicinal qualities for you, little hammer.
Oh, my
Enjoy yourself.
goodness.
Enjoy your trip.
All right.
What is-
Okay.
what-
Hold on a second. Let me get back
Okay.
to Brian's postseason thing because you know what? I do have a question for him for his three pitchers. What about your phenom that you guys brought up? I mean, like, what's his name? He's a shit litter. Cam shit litter.
Can you rephrase? I can't. What am I going to do with that, Dan?
Hey, that's his name. Shit litter.
No, it's not.
What's his actual name?
Schlitter.
Schlitter. Cam Schlitter.
Good.
What about that guy, Brian? I feel like you're not giving him a fair shake. Come on.
Why should I give him a fair shake? September 5th, which was 2 days ago when he only lasted an inning and 2/3 and gave up 4 runs on.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I saw all the other ones. Oh,
That's right. Well, maybe you were too busy licking toads.
Damn right, I'm licking
But I
toads
pay attention.
after listening to you. Absolutely.
I pay attention to my teams. Listen, he's a good kid. He hasn't been lights out. He's been in 10 games. It's 50 innings. That's a small sample size. Would I put him in the number 4 position? Probably. Or I'd throw him over to the pen. So we got a couple of choices there. But I stick with my 3 horsemen for the moment.
Rodon and Fried that's enough in a short series. If you can get those 2 wins with Rodon and Fried, who have been good.
Mm-hmm.
Gil, I mean, do you really know what you have with Gil? He's only 3-1 right now. He's pitched 7 games. He started 7 games. Do you really know what you're getting out of him so far?
I mean, so far, I feel pretty good. I mean, the last couple games, yesterday, in fact, he got the win through 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 4 walks, only a K, but that's all right. I'll take that for my starter every time.
The thing that would concern me about Luis Gil The thing that would concern me is he's started 7 games. He's only pitched 35 and a third innings, and his whip is 1.5.
Mhm.
That's a little frightening in a short series. Because that tells me that he's not pitching deep into games and he's giving up hits.
Well,
He's only pitching
here's a
5 innings a game.
Right. And he's
yeah.
giving up a lot of hits in those games. So he's giving up a lot of base runners in those games. That's
Well,
not a good recipe in a short series.
here's the
Not to
thing,
mention
Matt.
his walks. His walks are up significantly. If you take a look at his strikeout to walk ratio, it's 1.53. Now
Yeah,
you don't want that. It's basically even. It's a 1-to-1 split.
right. So what I'm going to tell you is this: when he came back on August 3rd against Miami, he got roughed up. He only lasted 3 innings and gave up 5 runs, all of them earned. He bounced back against Houston, only gave up a couple runs that game, but he did give up 6 hits over 5 innings. And you're right. Yesterday was the first time that he pitched through 6 innings. I think they also had him on kind of a pitch count as well because they're just bringing him back from injury. So I think he's getting stronger and stronger. But the thing that I keep looking at is also his ERA. His ERA keeps going down with every start. So you got to give credit where credit is due. Yes, there's base runners. I get that. You also got to remember that we have crappy defense. So there's probably a variety of times where someone reaches because Volpe threw the ball into the stands. We're doing our best.
Always an adventure. Always an adventure.
Always an adventure. Ground ball to the shortstop's always an adventure. So if you're asking me, I'm telling you, there's nobody else at this point that I would trust. In terms of experience, in terms of pedigree, these are my 3 guys. Cam Schlitter, who sounds like an off-brand, Milwaukee best. I'll put him in the bullpen or I'll throw him in the 4th slot if we need to. And that's the other thing. We're going to need all the arms we can get in that pen because that thing has been tapped. That thing has been tapped like some awful keg during Greek week because you look at those arms there and they are just ragged. The people that we brought over during the trade deadline, absolute basura. I mean, you got Bednar, fine, but this is a guy that will come in with the bases loaded and he'll say, well, those aren't my runs. Sorry. They belong to the
That
guy
sounds like
before me,
Orion Kirkering for a second
here's a
right
ground
there.
ball. Here's a sac fly here. Here's a double there. Oops, my bad. But I'll get the guys out that I'm responsible for. Ugh. Like, get some ice water in your veins. These guys, they're not the answer in the bullpen, and that's what scares me. Weaver has been really the lone bright spot, in my opinion. I mean, you got a couple of other guys in there too. Yarborough is one that kind of comes to mind. But in the end, it's still a really, really scary bullpen. I don't trust Airbender, McGillicuddy. I don't trust Doval. I can't. You got guys with ERAs around 5 as your closers. That's scary news, and we're headed right into Halloween with that.
Yeah, so it sounds like the injury bug has hit all 3 of our teams leading into the playoffs. Losing Wheeler was a kind of a big deal. We'll have to see what happens with Trey Turner. And, the Mets and the Yankees have both had their share of injuries that have led to where they are. You're hoping that Luis Gil comes back, and that he's the kind of steady presence he was in the rotation that he was last year when he won Rookie of the Year. Right now, he's, like you said, he's getting better. He's got to build up to it. And I don't know what the heck we're going to get out of the New York Metropolitans. On one hand, you get your first look at the future of the Mets rotation with McLean, Tong, and Sproat all now being called up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exciting if you're a Met fan, because that's what you're expecting is going to be the cornerstone of your rotation for the next 5 years. But the fact that they've had to call these guys up because of all the injuries they've had and because they haven't gotten the performance out of the guys that they were supposed to be relying on, hopefully these guys like McLean dig in and perform for the team. And we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be really interesting for the remainder of the season. As we close this out, just one note about Davey Johnson. Davey Johnson passed away this week. He was a 4-time All-Star as a second baseman playing from 1965 to 1978. He won 2 World Championships with the Baltimore Orioles in 66 and 70. He won 3 Gold Glove Awards. And in 1973, while he was playing for the Braves, he hit a single-season record for home runs by a second baseman with 43. And fun fact, he was also the last player to get a hit off of Sandy Koufax.
Oh, wow. That's a cool stat.
But he'll be remembered most, I think, for managing the 1986 New York Mets to the World Series championship. The Mets had a record 108 wins that year. He won the Manager of the Year award twice, once with the Baltimore Orioles in 1997 and again in 2012 with the Washington Nationals. He has an all-time win percentage of 562, which ranks among the top all-time for managers with at least 1,000 victories. He was a great manager. He was a great ball player, and we lost a good one this week. Davey Johnson, R.I.P.
How about Jackson Holiday paying homage to him by breaking up that no-hitter against the Dodgers in 8 innings and 2/3? And
One
then they
out
come
away,
back,
Yamamoto was. One out.
yeah, 1 out away. The Orioles were going to lose. They were going to lose 3-0, 1 out away, and then the Orioles come back and beat them. Absolutely crazy.
I mean, you want to talk about Orioles magic. Yes, Jackson Holiday's home run was the fourth time in the expansion era that the Orioles broke up a no-hit bid of 8 2/3. And the first one to do it was actually by Davey Johnson, who passed away on that very same day. So I like to think that the heavens opened up a little bit, the clouds opened up a little bit, and was looking down on old Camden Yards right there. And as much guff as we give the Pickles Pub Brigade, they did a wonderful job in saluting Yamamoto, gave him a standing O because they recognized what a great game he was pitching up to that point. And because of their classy gesture, I think it allowed Davey Johnson to sprinkle a little magic from the heavens and give them that walk-off win. So if you can't fall in love with baseball because of things like that, I don't know what to tell you. You're dead inside.
I don't even know how to follow that up. You can check out every episode of the Three Tool Players podcast on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, and on Spotify. Just make sure you mash all of those like, subscribe, and follow buttons. We'd appreciate it. And you can follow us on TikTok at Three Tool Players and on X.com at Three Tool Pod. For both Brian and Dan Hammer, I'm Chris Spear, and we thank you for listening to this episode of Three Tool Players.
Sanalas mañana.